Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of CookieCast. Today on CookieCast, it's the football podcast. Everybody's there. Myself, Paul, Matt and Stu. We're talking football. Going to find out who won the week in the predictions and see who's going to be able to predict their way to another win this week. Just a few games to talk about, but then we're talking what's going on in the football world. And it's all wrapped up with a beautiful bow at the end. If you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. And if you can like, share, comment and subscribe, that'd be amazing. Same for you audio listeners. If you're already subscribing, great. If you're not, click of a button and it's a big help to us. If you want to drop us a line, jump over to thecookiecast.com. Email and social media links are all there. Click of a button and you can get in touch with us. So here we go. This is CookieCast, the football podcast.
Recording in progress.
She's right, recording is in progress. And I'm going to hand over to the ever glamorous Paul Williams to lead us off. Go.
It's very nice of you to say, Andrew. I thought you were saying the other week that recording has started doesn't appear on the recording.
It doesn't appear on the video, but it appears on the audio.
Of course it will.
So because of that, it in turn appears on the video, because when I marry them up, the video has the audio. So.
Well, you're not wrong. Yes, welcome along, ladies and gentlemen, to another instalment of the football podcast. It's still untitled, as we can't settle on a decent name. So we'll discuss your usual ins and outs of Middlesbrough, Hull, Nottingham Forest, as little as Matt would like to discuss that, I dare say. But we're gonna come at you thick and fast, and what better way to come at you thick and fast than last week's games?
Oh, that's me.
Oh dear. Yeah. You can tell by the sigh that it's not going to be a good or high-scoring week.
Straight in there, isn't he? Straight in there. So I think I beg to differ there. That I believe somebody might have scored a shed load of points. Not any of the football teams represented here, though. So
Was it a big week for the Bristol City boys?
Yeah, Bristol City smashed it. Did they?
They definitely didn't. So
there we go. First game of the week to discuss is Derby County taking on the mighty Middlesbrough. Paul, let's talk about this goal fest.
Well, as we discussed on the podcast last week, at time of recording last week, I was reliably informed that I had tickets to be there in person. I was then told the day before that those tickets did not exist and would not be coming. So, sadly, I did not manage to get there in person.
Sad trombone sound.
What can only be described as a ball draw for just a bit of a non-event, really. It was, despite everyone tipping it up as at least a couple of goals, there were none. So I don't think that'll take very long to tick off in the book.
Now you say that.
Can we give bonus points to whoever it was that took the tickets away from you?
Yeah.
Just the same.
I mean, in hindsight, obviously they did do us a massive favour. But
You see,
even the worst 0-0's better than the best F1 race or something like that, I suppose.
Shots fired.
F1 pod coming soon.
I am not saying this for effect in any way, shape, or form. But I've had multiple conversations with a certain somebody about doing an F1 podcast.
Oh my!
So swiftly moving on from that.
Brilliant! Can't wait for that in the coming months.
I'm pretty sure they were like, I'm only doing it as long as I can get Paul on as a guest. Anyway, with a 0-0, we all know what that means. Because let's face it, it's very rare that you get a 0-0 where somebody predicts 0-0. Everybody predicted something. Stu was the closest. Because Stu did go for a draw. Unfortunately, it was a draw with goals. 0-0 wipes out anybody's prediction of goal scorer, and like I say, Stu was closest, but even Stu didn't get any points. So, oh yes, lovely bagels all round. Obviously, what that does is it moves that game out of the way, straight on to Fulham versus Hull City. And for this game, we're going to go into one of the corners, whichever it appears on your screen, to talk to Stuart Woodmansey about how his team did against Fulham. Stu?
Well, remember how I said that they'd get trounced? They sort of were halfway there because they lost 2-0. So it was Fulham 2, Hull 0. Goals in the 22nd minute from Mr. Mitrovic. And the 34th minute from Mr. Carvalho.
So, some of you might remember, round about this time last week, some people said, I've got no faith in Hull City this week. They're going to get beat. So, I think we're probably going to see some points there.
Was that 1, 2, 3, 4 people that said that?
Why you got to be that guy, Paul? Why you got to be that guy?
I can see it.
You got to be that guy. I believe this is yours. So,
You're not even a whole fan.
I'm a fan of points. And when we get to the end of this week, you will see why.
Nice.
Speaking of Paul decided Fulham were going to absolutely do a number on Hull City with 4 goals. Now, he was a little out, but to make up for being a little out, he did get one of the goal scorers. So, Paul, 2 points for you, sir. Stu, you also saw Fulham doing your team. Something that is interesting is not one, but both goal scorers. So that's 3 points for Stu. Matt also saw Fulham doing over the Hull City boys, and both goal scorers. So a 2, a 3 and a 3. We don't need to talk about what I put down, and let's move on swiftly. If anyone's keeping score right now, I'm on 0 for the week. It's okay. It's all to play for. Stoke City took on Nottingham Forest. Or was it the other way around? No. I'm going to go over to our Nottingham Forest correspondent, Mr. Matthew Moore, who will let us know how Nottingham Forest did taking on Stoke.
They lost 1-0 to somebody who I think, if I research, I think he played 50 games, and that might have been his first goal in professional football. So great.
Well, it's not like anybody predicted him to score. Isn't that right, Paul?
I mean, you can't legislate for these sort of things, can you? There was obviously something in I was gonna say my waters then, but then I don't think that's how it works.
You can't legislate for it, but apparently you can. So there we are.
It's why people love going to quizzes with me.
The ones you go to on your own.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or is it the ones that you single-handedly shut down? Those are my favourites.
Well, I did the honourable thing when he restarted it at the beginning of the Euros. I didn't go.
Didn't turn.
For fear that people might see it go off and just turn away.
You should have just gone for a drink and stood in the background, not actually.
Just waiting for people to like turn and look like. No, okay. I think it's this one. As you may have worked out, not only did Paul have Stoke City to win, not quite. It was a little more in the Stoke City are gonna thump Nottingham Forest area. Was the only person to actually pick up the goal scorer. So 2 there. Hot on his heels though, Stuart Woodmansey. Correct score, sir. 2 points for you. Matt follows swiftly with just 1 point for the score there, Matt. Just 1 point. No goal scorers. And yeah. So anyway, the scores for the week. Scores for the week so far, and this is the crucial thing. Scores for the week so far. Paul sitting pretty, 4. Stu sitting prettier on 5. Matt joint second on 4. And bringing up the rear with 0 is me. But it's fine. It's all fine because there's 1 game left and I can bring it back with this 1 game. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at this game. We're going to see how I managed to turn this ship around to win the week. Brace yourselves. Nottingham Forest took on Wolverhampton Wanderers. Quick scan. Somebody had faith in Nottingham Forest anyway. I'll refer back to last week where I said last time. We'll jump swiftly over to our Nottingham Forest fan to let us know about the absolute goal fest that this game was.
Just to kind of double down on the misery. So apparently Forest managed to keep a clean sheet for the first hour, 58 minutes should I say, and then just concede 4 in the last half an hour. So I think we kind of discussed it last week that we were kind of taking a shot in the dark with who might be playing because we weren't sure whether Wolves would play a youth team or whether they'd play a stronger kind of first team with some people getting a chance mix. And they went for the second option, which, I mean, this is going to be an unusual look for me for the previous few weeks, but it kind of shows Forest did all right to kind of hold out for the first hour if they were playing kind of Wolves kind of first teamers when Forest made 10 changes. So the people who scored. I mean, again, we have this discussion and we laugh about it. It's how can Matthew butcher people's names? And I've got 3 opportunities to do it today, folks. So we've got, I'm going to go with Saiss, Saiss.
Lovely.
Podence, or Podence.
Podence, I think it is, but pretty good.
Mikado Trincao.
He's the lad that got one from Barcelona.
And this one, it was 3 out of 4. Gibbs White. I really can't mess that one up. I just did slip in there though because the BT, the the BBC app kindly slips in who does the assists, just for Mr. Williams, because I knew he predicted him to get a couple. Fabio Silva got a couple of assists in there, so didn't score the goals, but if you remember, did get the assists.
I believe he's known in the business as a filthy tramp. So
I know what everybody's wondering. How did Mr. Cook take 0 and turn it into a win? Well, ladies and gentlemen, he didn't. He managed to take another 0. That's right. Finishing the week on 0, 4 opportunities, a multitude of goals. Couldn't pick a single one of them. Paul, you joined me with not taking any points out of this game because you went for a draw. And although he did get some assists, Silva did not score any goals. That just leaves Stuart and
does this mean that we need to start factoring in assists for the weekly predictions?
No.
I think Paul gets deducted another point just for asking that question.
Oh, Stu, don't be like that.
Believe me, Stu, it's really not going to matter because some weeks it's close and other weeks... Stu, you took a point out of that game by predicting Wolves to win. Matt, you also took a point by predicting them to win. And if you're keeping score, if you've got your calculator and your abacus out, what you'll find is dead last. Paul is third, 4 points. Matthew is second with 5 points. The winner for the week, ladies and gentlemen, the host of the Getting Over podcast, it is Mr. Stuart Woodmansey. Congratulations to you, sir. Your prize is winging its way to the wrong address.
This goes to show, do the wrestling podcast, hardly ever win the wrestling predictions. Come and do the football, now we're talking.
That's it's a life lesson. Now then, I am reliably informed that there are just 3 games to predict this week. And it seems to be in some kind of weird reverse order, because normally it would be either the Hull City or the Middlesbrough boys up at the top, but this week Derby County take on Nottingham Forest. If anybody wants to cast their mind back, like I was saying before, it's official. Last week was the last week of me ever predicting Forest to win. So guess what? Derby County 1-0, Morrison to score. Paul.
All runs have to come to an end, don't they?
I don't know how bad your belly is, but
No one, no team is shit forever. So, and there's nothing better to kick yourself out of a rut than a local derby. So, I would like to go for Derby County to get back-to-back goalless draws at home.
Okay.
You are welcome, podcast audience.
So 0-0.
0-0.
Okay. Stu, any advances on 0-0?
Well, Paul, I agreed with you. I thought you were building to that crescendo finish of you're damn right. All bad runs have to come to an end, and I thought you would go in there, and then you seem to fall at the final hurdle. So I am probably blindly going into this on the back of the laws of probability more than anything. No offence, Matt. But I am going to go with Derby County 1, Nottingham Forest 2.
He's a crazy bastard. He's an absolute mentalist.
And the other thing was, seeing as I'm gonna slight spoiler, but seeing as none of our teams could seemingly hit a cow's ass with a banjo last week, I'm also plumbing for all of our teams to score at least one goal this week. So you'll see how that goes. So this is the start of that good run.
Never going to happen.
So much like Andy, I selected Morrison to score for Derby, and also because
so bad at Borough.
He's absolutely overdue. Taylor has got to score for Forest at some point.
He got one on the first day of the season.
Yeah, but not since. And did they win? Did he score in a win? No, this time he's going to score in a win. So Taylor is the first, and just purely for the lols of writing it in the book, I've gone for Zinkernagel for the second.
Oh, I was convinced you were going with Bong there for a second.
If anyone ever predicts Bong scoring, you're literally the only person on the planet, including Forest fans, who are predicting that, because he is not well liked within the Forest fandom. Would be a polite way of putting it.
He's a Houghton fanboy though, isn't he? Like he's like one of Houghton's boys. I think he had him at Brighton. I think he had him at Brighton. So I think he signs him wherever he goes.
Have you just openly said on the podcast that Houghton likes the bomb?
What he does in his own personal time is none of our business.
The irony being with that is that he was sent off to go and train in the corner with Harry Arter and all the other people that they want to leave. So, and then because we had no fullback, so they were like, Gayton, come on, mate. Kind of need you to play this weekend. They got himself sent off, prick. Got himself banned. Didn't get sent off. Got banned retrospectively.
Was that because he likes to go on
poke
Twitter?
People in the eye. Yeah, he likes to poke people in the eye. That's exactly what he likes to do. Ryan, my prediction.
I was going to say, I felt like that needed more investigation, but we should probably move on. So,
Move on.
as the Forest fan amongst us, Matt, tell us how it's really going to go down.
Well, in the Battle of the A52 for the Brian Clough Trophy. Yes, there is a trophy for this derby. This East Midlands derby. I have gone for a really glamorous and exciting 1-1 draw. Because it's generally, with Forest and Derby matches, it's either a draw with goals or an absolute thumping for one of the two teams. And neither team has really shown the evidence of giving the other one a thumping. So one each. And I've gone for Phil Jagielka scoring for Derby, because Forest don't like defending corners.
Or just defending.
Yeah.
Again.
And for Forest, Yates, he'll probably score and then get himself sent off for, I don't know, killing somebody on the way back.
It'd be awesome if he does score and get sent off because he just goes up to that. He just goes up to Rooney in the face and just goes, ah! Like,
genuinely could happen, and I don't know who I'd pull for in that fight, but equally hateable. And one of those people is a Forest player, and one of those people is Wayne Rooney.
You know how Facebook listens to you, so you get the marketed adverts on your phone. I'd seen obviously after the podcast we'd obviously talked about Derby. Seeing as all three of us now have suffered that game already this early in the season, and it said that they're getting so desperate. This article came up on a Derby Gazette or whatever their local paper is, whatever it would be. Saying that they're getting so desperate for players that it's that they were trying to push him to re-sign as an active player before all of that finishes as well.
I thought you were going to say re-sign some player that they released in the summer. No, re-sign Wayne Rooney. God.
Yeah. I know. I reckon more than anything, it was probably just a slow news day in Derby that day, or as it's known, just a regular day.
Derby.
I think the thing you have to think with, you have to remember with Rooney is that he's a 36-year-old man in about a 52-year-old man's body. Just because his body will just be ruined. Because obviously he's played, 50 to 60 games a season since he was 16. And like he just never stopped. So his body is just ravaged.
And then also, on top of that though, he never stopped playing football, but then on top of that he drank and smoked and all that kind of thing that doesn't do anything. I've never played professional sport at all, but I would be confident that at this stage in life, I'm probably about as fit as Wayne Rooney.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he goes the Steve Bruce route of retired, double his weight within 6 months. Because that's the way that Bruce went. I've never known an
otherwise known as the race rudder.
Well, yeah, that was a thing as well. But one thing I did hear about Derby was that apparently the latest Scotland squad, Andy Marshall, the goalkeeper, had to be left out because he's not in Rooney's good books at Derby at the minute. And I was just thinking, Christ Almighty, they haven't got enough players as it is. They can't afford to have players that they don't want at the club.
That was a weird one because Steve Clarke was talking about that. And is that contract related, i.e., like bonuses that he's due for games played and stuff like that? Because they're so financially buggered, he just can't. They can't play him because he's the third choice. He's not even like sat on the bench just in case. He's third choice at Derby. And Steve Clarke was like, "Oh yeah, if he can get a move and start playing again."
Have I called him Andy? Is it David Marshall? Actually, I think I called him Andy.
David Marshall. Yeah.
He's a former Hull player as well.
I was going to say I thought he was at Hull for a portion of his career.
I mean, in fairness, from patches of his Hull career, third choice is still far too much. But
I mean, they've resubmitted their accounts for the 4 or 5 seasons where they got creative, shall we say? I mean, who's to say that these ones are legitimate as well? Because I very much doubt it.
I wouldn't trust anything that came out of that club if it was notarized by 8 different people.
Oh, God, no.
They have got to be the most dodgy club in the entire country, other than maybe Man City. But
I mean, God, take your pick out of the top 4 or 5 in the Premiership, because that's, there's some definite creative accounting going on there, but Derby is just them and Sheffield Wednesday. I mean, obviously Sheffield Wednesday got caught, but still something dodgy going on there as well.
You would have thought so.
There you go. Hull City are taking on Bournemouth this week. So, Matt, why don't you tell us what you think is going to happen in this game?
I've taken a bit of a kicking over the past few weeks, and I'm not about to start making friends with people now either. I've gone 2-1 to Bournemouth.
Goal scorers?
Wilkes for Hull.
Okay.
And then Solanke for Bournemouth. And Stanislas for this second one as well. Which was a difficult one to write down because he is a bit of a tool.
Interesting.
What did the Stanislas do to you, Matthew?
He's just, whenever I've seen him play, he just seems to be just a general kind of
hit.
I mean, I don't want to use the word, but they generally arrive on a Tuesday and it's a bit ishy with it, kind of thing. It just seems to be a little bit like that.
Oh dear. Yeah, there's always those players. There's always those players who every time they play against your club, they just seem to do something that really, really ticks you off.
He's a bit whiny, a bit divey, a bit antagonistic towards people. Just a general, occupier of Tuesdays.
one of those players where when he plays against you, he's an absolute. But if he's on your team, different story.
Standard play where he's one of the first people to throw himself to the ground as soon as anyone goes anywhere near him. But yeah, if he's putting tackles in, he's always leaving a bit on the other guy as well.
Yeah, then pleading his innocence to the refs, and the first one to be there next to the referee talking and going, "Oh, maybe you should." You just think, piss off, mate.
Chirpers.
I've got Hull City winning this one. That's all I'm saying. Gone 1-0. Lewis Potter to score. Paul.
You know in the wrestling podcast when people make their picks and then you sort of swoop in round the back with the playing for points method. Don't really think it applies in the football world as much.
No. If you go back through the last, since the season started, I don't think I've got more than. Well, we know what we got. We know what I got last week. One the week before. 2 the week before. I mean, I'm just
working it on the goal scoring system rather than the actual points, but be fine.
So season so far, 3. Stu got double that last week. But it's not about me and how shit I am at predicting football. It's about what you think Hull City's going to do.
Runs are there to sort of be broken and stuff, and I think they've lost all their own games so far, haven't they? Stick me down for it, because Bournemouth have just taken an absolute pasting in the cup as well, so that might put them a little bit on the back foot. Stick me down for a 1-1 draw.
Go for it.
Pushing out there. Or he's taking a pasting in the cup, 1-1 draw.
I'll have McGuinness to score for Hull.
Are you sure that's how you say it?
Who knows? Who can tell anymore? Names, they mean nothing. And for Bournemouth, David Brooks. If he's still there.
Stu?
Well,
there's always talk of him going and getting signed by somebody.
I have clearly been almost borrowing your copybook, Andy, because on the back of the 6-0 pasting that Bournemouth had in the Cup, I have also gone this time round for a Hull 1, Bournemouth 0.
Good lad.
Just to steal the bit from Paul of the Bournemouth defeat, and to steal the bit from Andy of the 1-0. I might as well steal from Matt as well, so I'll have Wilkes as the goal scorer.
Beautiful.
Well, what you've done there is you've borrowed a little bit from everybody to get your result, right?
To get no points, yeah, you're right, yeah.
Exquisite.
I mean, following me is probably not the way to go for points. So just
we'll
saying.
See. You're going to smash it this week, Andy. I can tell.
I'll be walking out with like 10 points for the week, even off the back of 3 games. It's like all of these teams. It's my time to shine. It's my time to break my losing
All them
streak.
streaks are there, yeah. All them streaks are there to be broken.
So, last game of the week. It's Paul's favourite team.
Blackburn Rovers.
For that.
Yeah, and they're taking on them Middlesbrough guys. I've gone 1-0 for Middlesbrough, and I've got Watmore down to score a solid goal. Let's double down with Stu. Let's snake.
essentially repaying Paul's confidence in the 1-1 draw for Hull, I am going for a 1-1 draw for Middlesbrough. And seen as there's the old boy rule is in play, I have gone for Ayala to score for Blackburn.
Oh, I forgot he was there.
And I've gone for a Tavernier to score for Middlesbrough.
Beautiful stuff. Matt?
I'm continuing my theme of making friends. And I've gone my favourite score. I think this must be like my most predicted score. I think 2-1 to Blackburn.
Does anybody remember the season that I predicted 2-1 for 95% of the games? That was a good time. Pretty sure that was also my highest scoring season. So Matt, have at it. Goal scorers.
It's like a less than subtle cheat code. Middlesbrough scorer Crooks.
3-3. Wow.
It's playing the odds. If he scored them many, then hopefully. And then Blackburn Pervader.
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute, did you say 3-3?
Yeah, in home games.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, because I'm pretty sure we just talked about a 0-0 draw earlier on.
And then Gallagher for the second.
Okay.
Paul took a deep breath there as if he knew something.
No, your Pervader shot might be a good one because he's just gone on loan from Leeds, hasn't he? So.
Yeah, he's got out to Leeds and is loving life in Blackburn. Yes, celebrating going to Blackburn.
I have been to both places. I'm not sure that would be the term I'd use, to be fair.
I have also been to both places, and I would say Blackburn is a distinct improvement to that absolute shithole. Paul,
making friends with Leeds.
Fuck Leeds. Fuck their football team. Fuck their city. Fuck everything about them. They can get bombed to the dark ages for all I care. Start with the football team and work out.
I'm potentially reading between the lines here, but I'm getting a sense that Andy might not have a lot of time for Leeds.
I'm just gonna nip over and get the Andy doll, and I'll show you exactly. It bends at the middle. Let's put it that way.
Oh dear.
Nice. Well,
I'll be ticking the not for children on this podcast.
As long as you can save the couple of little sanctuaries that are within Leeds that we like, North Brewing and
we'll class Northern Monk. We'll class all those sort of places as like independent sort of states,
republics.
Yeah. We'll class them as like international waters or something like that.
Like Andorra and
San Marino,
like that kind of like principalities.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? If Northern Monk and North just decided to declare as sovereign states, it'd be awesome.
Not from the country, just from Leeds.
Yeah, basically. I'll go full on Homer and go for a 1-0 Borough win.
Love it.
Is it too much for me to ask for an Ayala own goal?
No.
Oh, do you know what? Let's go for it. Let's live life on the edge.
We've all three of it. We've all experienced it, so it's probably not unlikely.
If he could rifle it in from like 25 yards out as well, that'd be even better.
At the very least, he'll probably give away the penalty that you score from. So
yeah, it's whenever it comes up in conversation, my mates always enjoy the fact that when we went to the playoff final against Norwich, he attempted a Cruyff turn on the edge of his own box and fell over, gave the ball to Cameron Jerome, from which he scored. So that was nice.
And from my experience of seeing him play live, it's one of them ones where you'll be lining up to defend a corner. It'll be an out-swinging corner, and he'll still manage to bullet it into the top right-hand corner rather than heading it out.
Oh my.
As I mentioned earlier, only 3 games. Just the 3 games to predict. And they have been predicted. So what do we do now?
Well, usually this would be the any other business section, we could probably kick it off with the. So obviously we had the messy talk a couple of weeks ago.
I thought it was. I don't think it was that messy. I thought it was quite clean and stuff. It was, all regimented. One for you there, Stu. Just for you, buddy.
That joke's boo.
That joke's for justice.
But it broke. I think it broke last night that apparently Real Madrid were bidding. I think it was 160 million for Kylian Mbappe at PSG. Now, the conversation I've had with various people is that if PSG turn it down, they're basically just saying money means absolutely nothing to us because he's out of contract at the end of this season. He has already said he's pretty much not going to sign an extension, so he will be able to leave for nothing. And if you turn down the sort of 4th highest fee for a player ever, you're basically just saying that, money don't really matter to us.
They apparently want to recoup their £180 million investment in him before. The best thing is that apparently Madrid are £750 million euros in debt, and have also taken out £500 million to refurb the stadium. So, let's just call it a cool £1.25 billion euros in debt already, and they want to spend 180 million on a player. If there's not if this is not further evidence that football is absolutely effed, then here we are, folks. It's just ridiculous.
Is it just football, or is Spain becoming the next Greece?
It's certainly going that way if they're not careful. I think the thing with the Mbappe thing as well is if it goes through, it'll kickstart what can only be described as the sort of most insane transfer merry-go-round that's ever going to happen. Because if he goes to Madrid, PSG will try and pull the trigger and try and get Ronaldo from Juventus. That'll force Juventus to try and sign somebody, and what it'll end up with Tottenham on deadline day. Levy will just absolutely shaft them again, like he does every single season, and they'll just panic and they'll sell Kane for 200 million or something like that, and they'll buy a striker from Pools or something like that to replace him.
Well, this was the other thing I was going to say about was the Harry Kane thing. Not to be usurped by all of the massive announcements of different transfers here, there, and everywhere. Be prepared, people, because a player that has a contract with a football club has now played a game for that football club, and has also said he's staying there. Woohoo!
It is sad, isn't it, that it's got to the stage where news is that a player has decided to stay and honour his contract at a club.
This is what drives me mad, because it's like the eternal argument is, well, yeah, but if you hand your notices in at your job, you can leave within a month to 3 months. And you're like, yeah, but I'm also not getting paid £1 million a week to do my job either, or £1 million a month, or however much ridiculous. And I didn't go in there saying, yeah, I'll sign this contract for the rest of my life, or the next 5 years I'm definitely working here, and then I'm going to go. And the problem is, it's happening. It's kind of not wanting to take it away from being a football podcast, but it's happening across lots of other sports. It's a big problem in the NBA at the moment, is that these players will sign a 5-year contract for $200 million, and then 3 years in will go, don't like playing in Oklahoma City. I want to go to Los Angeles. And you think, yeah, probably most people in the country want to go to Los Angeles, but you've signed a contract for 5 years. Yeah, I'm not going to play. And it just seems to be this kind of thing of, I'm not going to turn up for work because I don't like it. And I'm thinking, that's called Monday to Friday for most people. But actually we turn up. It's mental. It's absolutely mental that these. It's difficult because I can't. Someone said the other day they own him, and I'm like, oh, that's a difficult kind of phrase. And then when you throw in racial connotations to it as well, that's a very difficult phrase. But if you sign a contract, people expect, I can't, you sign a contract with with Sky, and you can't go, well, actually, Sky Sports is shit in the summer. I don't want to watch it anymore. They go, well, you signed up when the football was on, so you still want to watch the football in a few months, don't you? Kind of thing. And this contract thing seems to be a loose kind of. But you're right with the Levy thing. You'll leave it right up until whenever the window closes, 5 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and sell him at 11:45 or whatever it is. And he'll go, look, I've got 200 million for him. Well, yeah, we've got no strike.
I mean, regardless of if they keep him or not, though, I mean, let's cut to the chase. Tottenham are still going to win absolutely jack shit this season. So,
what were you talking about? They're one game away from being in the prestigious Europa Conference League.
Maybe by not being included in that, maybe they can class that as a win. Who knows?
The EFL trophy of European competitions.
Is it what essentially used to be the Intertoto trophy? Is that?
No, so this is, I suppose it's sort of like, I guess it's kind of to sort of replace the Cup Winners' Cup.
It's like Europa Light, isn't it?
In the Cup Winners' Cup, surely you have to be a cup winner for.
Stu, tell me how many teams in the Champions League were league champions.
I just wanted to stick it to Tottenham because of the Spurs thing and because of the Harry Kane thing. That's all. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit above my station. I'll get back.
Obviously, the viewership figures in North London just took a massive hit.
I mean, we can start on Arsenal as well if you really want.
Oh my God! I don't think we I don't think we can. It's too much to just it's good enough knowing that Arsenal Fan TV exists for me. Because that is priceless.
That's been he was on Sky Sports News the other week as like a pundit, and I'm like, we've had Mark Wright from The Only Way Is Essex as a pundit recently, and now this clown's on there, and I'm just like, this is just ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, get ready for we might get a stint at some point, lads. So.
He's open.
Yeah, there could be a lot of money spent in the next few days, if not Christmas, or definitely next summer anyway. And there's going to be a lot of players going for a lot of money that, apparently these clubs needed to form a separate league to be able to afford.
Well, that's the thing.
Any other business?
That was it. That was the AUB done thing.
So there we go. Follow along with the games at the weekend and see how well we did predicting those there games. I think we all know who's going to take this week's victory. Very confident, gentlemen. Very confident. It's usually I'm not winning this one, but everybody threw their hat in the ring.
This.
So watch out for that. Tune in next week to see me crying and these guys like, I don't know why you do it to yourself. Why'd you put our teams down to win? What's wrong with you? Apart from Matt, obviously,
Yeah.
Forest have had their time. Right then, thank you very much, gentlemen, for joining me and taking these lovely people through the muddy, sometimes waters of the football world. And like I say, until next week, you guys keep it real, and we'll see you then. Bye. So there you go. What do you think to that? Big thank you to Paul for leading us through the football world, and for Stu and Matt for joining and helping get through these sometimes choppy waters. I've already asked very nicely if you're listening or watching to subscribe, YouTube, iTunes, SoundCloud, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you want to be in touch with us, you've got something to tell us, then jump over to cookiecast.com, click one of our links, whether it's social media or the email. Drop us a line, let us know how you're getting on. That's it for this one. Till next time, I'm going to say bye, and I'll see you then. Bye!